Good morning, good to see you all. And for Latvia, obviously, this is a very important NATO informal ministerial. So we will be able to open ourselves up for a very wide variety of discussions. But the concentration and the direction from the Secretary General, of course, is about defense spending. So it will be the first exchange before the NATO summit in The Hague. We will be followed by defense ministers later in June. And the main point is, obviously, we face threats. Those threats we have jointly agreed it's Russia as the most significant and direct threat to the Allies' security, Euro-Atlantic security, and terrorism as the most significant asymmetric threat, so non-state threat to our citizens. For that, we need defense investment. We need to counter Russia's capabilities that Russia has been building up, not only to fight the war in Ukraine, but also for a longer term. So we are very clear in Latvia. We have made a decision to raise defense spending to 5% next year. This year we will end up with about 4%. And we clearly know also the direction from our military leaders that they need those capabilities to fill the defense plans, the force structure, exercises, and so on and so forth. We take security very, very, very seriously. It's the basis of prosperity for all of us, and it's also about solidarity that across the alliance we have to be very serious about defense spending. So it's not just abstract, it's very concrete capabilities that we need. EU has stepped up with its decisions, so we are all in it. So it's a good process.
What can really be expected today in the negotiations?
You were first.
What is your take on
Oh, we didn't expect him to be serious about what he was saying. He never said he will be coming. He said we shall continue the negotiations. So it was more like what was happening in 22.
What can really be expected from the negotiations in Istanbul today at the lower level?
It depends again, you know, on expectations. We don't have very high expectations. We don't see indications of peace on the Russian side. Yes, Ukraine wants peace. We all want peace, but Russia doesn't want peace for now. There is no indicator Russia wants peace. Without that, but the process, okay, it's good that at least there is a meeting or something. But whether any decisions can be made, we'll see. The ceasefire that President Trump asked for hasn't come true. So we fully support US peace efforts for Ukraine, but also in other parts with Israel and Hamas. We fully support the release of hostages and ceasefire there. But in the same time, we have to be realistic that Russia needs to be pushed to peace. And weakening Russia's military capabilities is the most direct and cheapest way how to achieve peace in Ukraine.
And on the consequences?
I mean, the trajectory is good that European allies, Canada, are adding to their defense spending. But again, it's not about abstract percentages. We have capability targets that our military leaders have indicated, specific capabilities, air defense, long-range fires, logistics, enablers, and so on and so forth. It does cost money. So actually making those decisions and starting the process of procurement will also release the industry energy and incomes back into the economy. So it's a circle that is actually positive. President Trump has been right in his first term and his second term that the peace dividend that some of the European countries had taken has lasted for too long. The threats are prominent. It's not only the conventional war in Ukraine, the sub-conventional activities, which is in Russia's warfare doctrine, its preparations for war, the sub-conventional cyber attacks, the sabotage activities, and so on and so forth, killings, let's put it that way, in a number of territories of allies, have been happening. It's part of the preparations in Russian warfare doctrine. They don't separate necessarily unconventional, sub-conventional activities from conventional. It's the method that you use for a particular type of situation.
Sanctions, what needs to happen beyond the 17 sanction package to finally get Putin to engage in serious negotiations?
We all know that sanctions can be both drafted and applied in a stronger way. So that is what has been priority also for Latvia. We have, of course, contributed to this sanctions package. We support U.S. sanctions package that Lindsey Graham has drafted. So if the peace talks don't lead to a constructive outcome, we are ready for more. So there is already a very clear idea what can be done as a next step.
Could you say what this could be?
No. That is always the negotiation process, both what countries submit and what comes out is pretty confidential. So it also needs to be, I wouldn't say surprise, but at least to have the effect on the other side. They should know what we are going to do. Listen, Russia is a threat, not only because of Ukraine. It had the intent, it had the capabilities, and it actually attacked Ukraine. We clearly see that the change in Russian force structures, that the plans of reform of the military force, the whole mode of Russian regime is about war. So we cannot expect that there is suddenly a change with regard to the plans elsewhere. So we have to be very strong, we have to be very sort of also calm, rational, but in the same time very determined to make sure that our people are protected across the alliance and that also services, internal security services know what is happening, what activities Russia, what influence activities Russia is doing, and to be able to respond. Deterrence is the key. Thank you. Oh, but we have agreed that across various documents and everywhere, and even in the NAC discussions, it's repeated and it's said there is no difference in analysis or assessment. So that is the basis for military planning, political planning, and that is the basis for decisions. So there's a logic into everything that NATO does. It's still the best and strongest defense alliance in the world, and that's our task to maintain it in such a way. That's why for more than 70 years we have had peace and growth, and we need to maintain it such a way. I thank you.